Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be stuck in friend zone with 8 different women. You heard that right. I've got an email here from a guy who has been stuck in friend zone with 8 different women for several years. And so he's read my first book, 3% Man, now going on 17 times, and he's been applying it relentlessly. And so out of these 8 different women, he has made an attempt with 6 of them so far to get out of friend zone. And so it's a really cool email of the power of hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. So this should be an interesting one because it's a really good case study. I think every email I've ever gotten over the last 15, 16 years from guys that are stuck in friend zone, it's usually just one woman they're trying to get out of friend zone with, but this dude's got literally 8 of them. And so far into his permutations, his attempts, he's gotten together with 6 of them, and some of them he's succeeded with, some of them he failed with. But what I really like is he included what his line was when he went for the kiss, and then obviously their responses and how he handled their responses and objections. So it's a really interesting case study. Like I said, I've just never seen somebody be stuck in friend zone so much with so many different women. So I got a quote that I wrote, and then we'll go through the first one and see how it went. So the quote says, "Most of what it takes to be successful in life is simply showing up and taking consistent action to create the life and lifestyle you've always wanted, no matter how many setbacks, challenges, and failures you inevitably encounter. The more you can increase your pain tolerance to endure ridicule, rejection, and failure, the more you will be able to accomplish in life, because the overwhelming majority of mediocre and unsuccessful people have a low tolerance for pain. Perseverance, learning from your mistakes, and refining your approach to any problem or challenge are the keys to long-term and lifelong success." So with that said, let's go through his email and see what happened. He says, "Hey coach, every time I decide to email you, it's hard to keep it short because of the extensive success stories. I wanted to write to brief you and possibly get your opinion on being friend zoned. I guess I was a decent looking kid. I always had a few decent looking girlfriends, but I made good friends with about 8 beautiful girls who I am still friends with to this day. I love all the women in my life. And after reading your book 17 plus times, when these particular girls wanted to hang out the past couple of weeks before Christmas, one at a time, I fit them into my very busy social life. Because since your book, I am booked, if you know what I mean." So, I can just see what he's going through. He obviously comes across a book like mine, starts reading it, and then all the light bulbs go off, and he's like, that happened to me. She said that to me. And they have the same experiences that I had, and it's cool to me at, almost 51 years old now, that somebody that I'm assuming this guy's maybe in his 20s here, maybe early 30s. Somebody at this point in his life can read a book like mine and then just completely turn around all of these situations in his life, because obviously if you read my book, it didn't go so well for me back when I was younger, because there wasn't anybody like me around. We didn't even have the internet back in those days. It was way before YouTube or anything existed. So back to his email. He said, "I either had them come over or I went to their house. A bottle of wine or a 6-packer of beer, depending on the particular friend. I still laugh daily at myself. So 8 girls, 6 hangouts so far." So he says, girl number 1. "I went over to her place and had about 3 beers. I locked eyes and said, 'We've been playing this game too long. You need to just kiss me.' Then I just stared and said nothing." So this is right out of Sales 101 in negotiation, when you present your offer to your potential buyer and then you say nothing and you just wait for them to respond. Because he who speaks first in that situation is the one who loses, because it creates a lot of tension there. And if people like you, they want to help you, they want to be nice to you. And so if they're on the fence about you, just that silence alone can push them over the edge to say yay or nay. It's very powerful to do, not only in your personal life, but if you're negotiating a salary on a job, or potentially somebody's offered you a job and they offer you a salary and you counter back, and then there's a pause and you just sit and smile and you just wait for them to respond to you. Most of the time, most people, because they just haven't done this enough, they get uncomfortable with the silence. And so they'll just go along with what you want, because at the end of the day, he who speaks first loses the negotiation. And he who waits the longest tends to win it. He says, then I just stared and said nothing. It took about 10 seconds, but it felt like 3 minutes. She walked 3 steps to me, and we kissed all the way to her bedroom. Pretty powerful. Girl number 2. She came over with a bottle of wine, and after about half the bottle, I looked her in the eyes and said, you need to just kiss me. She said, I thought we were just friends. He says, I never took my eyes off of hers, and I said, I've lied to myself too long. I'm extremely attracted to your sexy body. We kissed for about 45 minutes, but I couldn't close the deal. It's still possible that after that, in the future, she contacts him and he can invite her over to his place. And obviously, he's using a line right out of my book that I used one time with a girl many years ago. And it's a very effective line, which is at any point in the date, you can just say, I think you need to get it over with and kiss me right now. It's very powerful. Girl number 3, I went to her place, smoked a fatty, then the same thing, looked her in the eyes and said, you need to just kiss me. She said, I've been waiting for you to say that for 5 years now. Interesting. But I'm talking to a guy and I want to see where that goes. I said, he can keep you busy while we're not together. Wonder where he heard that one from. Also in the sweet book, 3% Man, which you can read for free at understandingrelationships.com. All you got to do is subscribe to the email newsletter. And you can read my second book, Mastering Yourself, for free. But back to our regularly scheduled hanging out and having fun and hooking up. If you don't have one of these sweet Teespring mugs, you can go to teespring.com and look up Coach Corey Wayne and go to my Coach Corey Wayne store and check out all the different mugs I have if you're so inclined. Plus, I got a lot of cool shirts like this one there. So she's back to what she said. She says, and I want to see where that goes. And after he tells her, well, he can keep you busy while we're not together, then he waited for her to speak. So he used the pause twice. She said, I'm going to see where this goes. My response, well, you now know. I want your gorgeous fucking body. Then I left, not looking back. Perfect. The strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. So in this negotiation, she obviously wanted to see where things went with this other guy. Maybe she wasn't interested, but obviously she says, I've been waiting for you to stay for 5 years, but now she's not really available. So if it doesn't work out with this other dude, more than likely, guess who she'll be calling? Obviously the guy that wrote the email. Girl number 4, she came to my place to just play darts. 30 minutes in, same thing, straight in her eyes. You need to kiss me. She said with a surprise, we're just friends. I said, I can't just be your friend anymore. I fucking want you when I'm with you. She said, I think we should not mess up our friendship. My response, you know how I feel. When you decide you want the best night of your life, give me a holla. She left. I'm looking back. Again, a negotiation. Perfect. Executed beautifully. She either agrees to give you what you want or see you later. Nothing personal. It's just business, as we say in the business world. But in this case, nothing personal. It's just sex and romance. Girl number 5. We met at my shed, which is more or less my man cave bar room. We were drinking vodka. A couple of hours in, I looked at her in the eyes and said, girl, I've been wanting you since I met you and I can't hold it in anymore. just stared in her eyes and waited. She kind of just took a deep breath and looked so submissive. I grabbed her and started kissing her. No resistance whatsoever. 10 minutes later, and she was bent over my couch, screaming my name. Naughty boy. The next day, her text, the bitch said, I've been worried for years that you might be gay. With a lot of laughy faces. I texted back, I love what he says here. He says, no, I'm just a lesbian and finally got to prove it to you. Let me know your schedule. We can hang again. Pretty sweet. Girl number 6. She was at another friend's house and needed a ride home. So as the good friend I am, I went and picked her up and drove her home. When we were in her driveway, she was kind of wasted, but I had to tell her, look, Jessica, ha ha ha, not really her name, I'm extremely attracted to you, and we can't do the whole just friends things anymore. She looked up at me and said, you should have fucked me a long time ago. So I kissed her and said, tomorrow when you're not hammered, give me a holla to let me know your schedule. I was sober, she was drunk, so I didn't follow her inside. Probably a good idea, but at the end of the day, the fact that she said, you should have fucked me a long time ago, it will be interesting to see what happens. So he says, 2 more of these situations to go, but thank you very much for everything. I've emailed you a few times throughout this progression since finding you. I'll drop a few dollars when I close on this next flip house. Some advice from me to you should start a dating app with 10% of your audience or chicks, and then 90% of the up-and-coming 3%ers. If you hang out and have fun and hook up for a couple of months, these girls will want your attention all the fucking time. Well, as far as the dating app goes, I've had a lot of people suggest that over the years. I'm not a fan of dating apps. I prefer meeting women in person, always have. It's just too much work in the dating apps. Plus, as I've said before, I've noticed over the last few years, there's a lot of hookers. Women are just simply looking to have sex for money. And there's so many gullible, desperate guys with more money than common sense that are willing to go along with it, that they're constantly validating this model. And it's just I don't have time for that BS. I just love meeting a random stranger out of the blue. You never know when it's going to happen. And just boom, it fucking clicks. I love that. It's beautiful. But that's just me. So, I appreciate the fact that you suggest I should build a dating app. You're definitely not the first. But I have zero interest in that. But I appreciate the email, and I'm sure obviously most of the guys watching this, this is kind of like 6 different friend zone type of emails all rolled into one. Because it's like I said, you're the only dude that I've ever seen over the years that's accumulated this many friends that you're stuck in friend zone with. So again, if you haven't read 3% Man, understandrelationships.com, it's free. All you gotta do is subscribe to the email newsletter. And obviously, if you'd love to get some of these sweet mugs at teespring.com or some t-shirts, just go to teespring.com, look up the Coach Corey Wayne store. And if you would like to get my help personally, maybe you're stuck in friend zone or things aren't going well with a woman you're involved with, and you'd like my help to turn things around, go to understandrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.